In the year 1966, the Animal Welfare Act passed into law which put regulations on the treatment of animals. It covers actions such as experimentation and research. This legislation is enforced by the United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA. Demand for products not involved with testing on animals are on the rise. We've been pushing for better conditions in farms, and since 1978, the Humane Methods of Slaughter Act forced the plants where livestock are killed to execute the animals in a less cruel fashion. Electric currents are sent through the animal to render it unconscious before its death to prevent it from feeling any pain. However, this law doesn't apply to birds, and the Humane Methods of Slaughter Act only applies to slaughterhouses that are inspected by the USDA. There are some frightening videos online that expose the horrific conditions that some animals are put through, and it's hard to deny that it's a massive problem. But what if no animals had to suffer for meat? Simply edible, cruelty-free yums. Over the course of 2 years and costing nearly $300,000 or 250,000 euros, in 2013 the first lab-grown beef burger was created at Maastricht University in the Netherlands. Since its inception, in vitro meat has become less expensive to make. Founded in 2015, a company named Memphis Meats has been developing all kinds of clean meat, and today, some lab-grown burgers only cost about $11. The price is expected to keep dropping, and according to ScienceFocus.com, by the early 2020s, some clean meat may only put you out $10. So what else is good about synthetic meat? Well, since laboratories are supposed to be sterile environments, as opposed to overcrowded and unclean slaughterhouses, you'll avoid certain bacteria that you can find in normal meat. In addition to safer consumption, in vitro meat usually requires a lot less water. Interesting engineering references an estimate by PETA. They stated that 1 pound of meat can require up to 2,000 gallons of water to produce, while our meaty associates in the lab only take up to 25 gallons. Some universities, such as Oxford and Amsterdam, have found that cultured meat doesn't need as much energy as livestock to be produced, nor does its production emit as much greenhouse gas. By the United Nations account, meat agriculture produces more negative emissions than all our transportation. It's important to note that farm areas use a lot of land, and deforestation is the opposite of a reduced carbon footprint. Animals have to eat a lot, so think of all the land necessary to grow the crops that become their food. As well, pesticides and fertilizers sprayed onto farmland often contain environmentally harmful substances. Companies like Finless Fish are developing lab-grown seafood, and other clean meat organizations such as Impossible Food and Beyond Meat are using vegetable and plant bases for their product instead of stem cells. Extracted from animal fetuses and given a nutrient-rich serum, the stem cells are then multiplied into muscle fibers until you've got a nice piece of meat. Add a little fat, dye that piggy red, and you've got a one-way ticket to Flavor Town. Right now, our stem cell recipe requires blood, which is obvious why some people might have a problem with it, but fear not. Researchers are developing blood-free serums as we speak. It's a bit of a conundrum due to blood being so jam-packed with exactly what helps the meat grow, but researchers won't give up on looking for alternatives quite yet. Other fascinating products can be made in a lab-oriented fashion. There are organizations working on developing egg whites, milk, leather, and gelatin, all while ensuring that no animals will be killed, harmed, or tickled too hard to make it so. A super plus to cellular agriculture is that you could easily add health benefits to the meat, such as less junky fats, vitamins, and medicine. Exotic animals on the black market for their meat is also a problem, so if it could be replicated in a lab for cheaper, have it be healthier for you and taste better, that might deter a few hunters here or there. To quote the founder of the Modern Agricultural Foundation, you can't differentiate this from traditional meat under a microscope. A survey done by The Guardian found that nearly 70% of people were willing to try cultured meat. Other survey results found a 50 to 60% range, which is still pretty incredible considering how stubborn people can be in this day and age. The regenerative way that meat can be grown onto scaffolding can also be used to create synthetic rhino horns or elephant tusks to reduce poaching, which is also a huge problem our world faces. The public hasn't been too kind to lab-grown meat. I mean, it doesn't even sound very appealing, but I'm down for it. There are those who will argue that the taste needs a bit of work, but everything has room for improvement. The positives go on, but this issue isn't as open and shut as it should be. Although there are many groups and researchers who have concluded that lab-grown meat is a more environmentally friendly option than normal meat, there are just as many skeptics suggesting the opposite, and it's always important to hear both sides. An article on Futurism.com suggests that lab-grown meat, in the long run, could end up being more energy-intensive than traditional farming. In addition, the same article suggests that methane gas emitted by livestock doesn't last in the atmosphere as long as carbon emissions do, which could lead to speeding up the effects of global warming. Another difficult thing to comprehend is just how much synthetic meat would have to be produced in order to satisfy meat demands, so traditional meat just can't be easily replaced overnight, especially since a lot of the companies tackling the issue are still in their infancy and just don't have the proper funding to be more useful right now. According to Tech.co, the world's meat consumption by 2050 could be as much as 1.2 trillion pounds, which weighs more than the largest aircraft carrier ever, by over 5,500 times. I might be speaking more generally about animal product alternatives right now, but a difficulty they will face is naming their products. The European Court of Justice in 2017 ruled that markets were not allowed to sell plant or veggie alternatives to milk, butter, or cheese if they contained the term for the original food in its name. In other words, a marketing nightmare. According to EcoWatch.com, with the energy it takes to generate lab-grown meat, at the moment, we aren't getting it done very efficiently, especially if we use non-renewable energy to make it all happen. This one is a bit up in the air. We have animals suffering, a warming planet, rising demands, a crippled environment, a lack of funds, and haven't acquired the research necessary to formulate a solid plan of attack. Yet. The gears are turning and the future is coming. Science will come through one way or another, and hopefully as an international collaboration we can provide more food to more people with less material and put an end to animal suffering once and for all. Know that the most powerful tool for learning is interest. Let me know what piques your curiosity. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Thanks for watching.